The final match between Georgia Tech and UC Davis. It's all gonna come down to this final song. And just like that, UC Davis takes the whole thing. Berkeley shows San Diego they're not here to mess around. And Andrew takes that song from Hamza. What a match. Welcome everybody to this round of 16 matchup of the Collegiate Cubing Championships. We've got a super exciting match for you guys tonight between the number 8 seed Penn State and the number 9 seed Vanderbilt. My name is Martin, and you guys can see me now, which is kind of cool. And I'm joined by the very special Manu Singh Hall from Cubers Live.
How's it going, everyone?
We're super stoked to have him on here. Super stoked to have Manu. But yeah, so just to remind you guys, we'll be doing a best of 3 sets, with each set as a head-to-head matchup of a best of 7 solves. And the first team to 2 sets won will move on to the next round of the competition. So Manu, super close matchup. Number 8 versus number 9. What are your thoughts?
Dude, if anything, like the seeds don't even describe how close this matchup is. Because yeah, it's 8 and 9, the closest possible seeds, but also these guys are really underseeded. If you guys watched Penn State in the last matchup, it was, first of all, it was not even close. And same with Vandy. Sorry, Martin, even though you got one solve off of Jonathan against Vandy, that match was
we got one
close. And so that's what we're talking about. We're into the second round of the bracket now, Sweet 16 you could call it. The matches are going to get closer and closer, and these 2 teams I think have been underseeded pretty badly. So they're going to be coming out with a vengeance, ready to show the other guys who's up and advance on to the Elite 8. It's going to be really exciting. I hope you all are excited at home. It's an honor to be on the Collegiate Cubing Championship stream once again. And yeah, let's hope for a great match.
Yeah, folks, this is going to be super close. Super excited to have Manu on again. And if you caught our last stream, you'll know that we're doing a new thing with coin flips. We'll be doing them live. We have another fantastic cuber here to do our coin flip for us. Introducing Tommy Cherry, who'll be doing our coin flip.
All right, I've got this nickel right here. If it's heads, Penn State will start, and if it's tails, Vanderbilt will start. We got heads, so Penn State will be starting. Best of luck to both teams.
All right, so Penn State winning the coin toss, going to be kicking off this matchup. Thank you to Tommy Cherry for doing our coin flip. And Manu, you were talking about how close these matchups are going to be. Let's take a quick look at our first competitors. Alfonsus for Penn State on the left side of your screen. Jonathan for Vanderbilt on the right side of your screen. Just right around a second. It's super close.
It's actually even closer than this too, because this average that we have for Alfonsus, that's an old average. He just broke this PR not too long ago. Puzzles in Pottsville 2025. He now has a 951 average. So that means the difference is only 0.2 between them.
Holy smokes. I think that's going to be a theme going on throughout this whole matchup. And I think it's going to get closer as we move on. But Penn State starting off there on the left side of your screen. Alfonsus going to kick things off for this matchup. Looks like we may have started off with a miss scramble, so get some extra warm-up time. But yeah.
Yeah, these competitors were warming up a lot in the while they were in the bullpen, so to speak. So we know that they're gonna bring their A game. Looks like Jonathan has his stack mat connected. Looks his last solve was 830. That's already like pretty good, right? So just goes to show the type of caliber that we have here. And like I said, like this could go either way. Kind of like the last matchup that was on earlier tonight, especially that last one, Vishwa versus Chris. Both of those are my guys, by the way. Chris 625 to collect
awesome.
up, of course, a classic.
Yeah, and I got some stats here for you. Penn State with a team average of 8.8. Vandy with a team average of 8.84. So just 0.04 of a second. I don't think we can describe how close this matchup is going to be.
There you go. That's why you all got to start tuning in. Yeah, I get it. You know, the first rounds were, you know, a little bit lopsided here and there. We did see a fun upset. I think NYU over Auburn, I think, was that one?
Yeah, super close.
But yeah, these Sweet 16 matchups are definitely going to be no joke here. The other thing that's exciting is we're going to see the top 4 seeds. They had a bye in round 1. They're going to be in it now. The stakes are just getting higher and higher every single week. You guys got to tune in. You guys got to subscribe, hit the notification bell, you know, just do all that jazz. Let's get into the match, Martin.
Yes, Alfonsus finally got a scrambled cube, getting things kicked off for Penn State. We'll see what Alfonsus pulls out of his pocket. Going to be setting the tone for this matchup. It's going to be a huge deal. Alfonsus getting things kicked off with White Cross. Going into OLL around 6 seconds. PLL at 8. Be a 10.20 for Alfonsus.
Yeah, not a bad start here. It is solve number 1, so there's nothing to, you know, just trying to set the pace for the rest of the competition. It's a little bit behind I think what he would have wanted, but it's definitely not bad at all. Remember, Jonathan could always +2, and then even if he gets an 8, it's going to turn into a 10. Just one move off is all it takes. So let's see what Jonathan has in the tank here. He's got yellow on the bottom. There's one piece that's already slotted in. Looks like he's rotating a lot, trying to figure out what exact angle to pick from. Yellow cross is going to end up being the choice. His turning is looking really, really fast. Finishing up F2L here, and now going into that COLL. A little bit sloppy on the turning. G-perm doesn't look the cleanest.
Hold up, Manu. We may have had a timer malfunction there. Oh, unless that's something on our end.
Okay.
Oh no, it looks like it's on our end. 12.21, I think that was from Jonathan.
Yeah, so what was it?
We're going to nix that live timer for now.
Yeah, so
10.2 from Alfonsus.
So there you go. That's it. So Penn State on the board already, even though it wasn't the cleanest of solves from Alfonsus. It didn't matter. It just mattered that it was just clean enough. That's the magic of these like head-to-head style events, I think, is as compared to like, you know, your traditional average of 5 where you can kind of let a solve like drop here and there. Every single solve matters, and the competitors have to be on their A game, especially when it comes to super close-up matchups like this.
Absolutely. Manu, how important do you think those first solves are to get the momentum going, to get your team up on the board first? It seems pretty important, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's gonna be super, super back and forth here, right? And if Jonathan can kind of take that first solve, you know, he's 1-0. Or rather, he's 0-1 right now. So he can just take what he's learned from that last solve and apply it here. Maybe apply a little bit slower turning. Yeah, this is already looking a lot better. Less lockups and everything like that. That's super, super key. Now into OLL and then another G-perm. This one was much, much cleaner. I think he's going to end up with a high 9. 957.
957 from Jonathan. Yeah, and I think another thing we've seen, not just with momentum, but also nerve management. I think we've seen a couple of times nerves get to some of these competitors. And 7 solves max, that's not a lot of solves. So you got to be on top of your game. You can't just be good. You also have to be consistent and handle those nerves well. And I wonder how much of a factor that's going to be in something as close as this, where just one mistake, one hesitation could cost you a solve or a set. But Alfonsus going in with white cross here.
Ooh, looks like he's going to end up with an 11. That V perm at the very end was the difference. Otherwise, I think he could have caught up to Jonathan. Is that he had good looking F12. So we're all tied up, Martin. It's like the first 2 solves just never even happened. Let's just reset it back to 0. Now it's a best of 5.
Yeah, it's back and forth this whole matchup, I think, is what we're going to be seeing. Alfonsus and Jonathan getting things kicked off just how we expected it.
This one's gonna go the distance, definitely. Like between Penn State and Vandy, I would the last one, the last set didn't really end up mattering. Good effort from Chris there, but this one is definitely gonna go the distance. That third set is not gonna be a dead rubber.
Absolutely, be a long match for sure. Alfonsus going in with white cross here. See what he can do. Going into Olo around 6 seconds on good pace.
Yeah, he was looking really good. 969.
969.
That's a pretty nice time there.
969 from Alfonsus. Alfonsus looks to be cleaning up his solves, getting a little bit faster each time. Wonder if we'll see the same thing from Jonathan. He's got those hand warmers out. Might give him a bit of a competitive advantage. We'll see.
Yeah, I wonder what it is still February. And here in Southern California, it was a gorgeous day, 75 and sunny, but definitely not the same everywhere else in the country. I don't know if you can report on that, Weatherman Albright.
Yeah, I think we got like high of 35 or something today. Not the temperature for solving. Jonathan going in with green cross.
Now, he had some really good-looking turning there. 645.
Holy smokes. That may even be one of our best solves this whole competition, this whole tournament. 645. Impressive solve from Jonathan.
Yeah, wicked fast there. You could just see he just had a good solution, and he was able to kind of just go through the entire solution without pausing. That is going to be huge for any of these competitors. At this level, if you pause, you're very likely to lose the solve unless your opponent does something really, really unseen, unheard of. So Jonathan with that 6 is going to clean that up. He's up 2-1. That's a pretty big reversal from from just a couple solves ago when he was down 1-0. Shaky turning, not necessarily the most efficient solutions. And so it's good to see him come back here. He has a chance, if he can go up 3-1, to really put himself on the board and, just go one more solve towards winning the set for Vandy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think whichever team gets up on the board early, getting that first set, going into set number 2 with a ton of momentum, with this match as close as it is, I think it's going to be a big, big deal. Jonathan going in with white cross here.
He's looking good.
Holy smokes. Maybe in low 774 from Jonathan.
You could see there he was able to preserve that the blue-red pair. And that was really what allowed him to continue his momentum. Now, it looks like Alfonso is going to get the same opportunity. He also has white cross on the bottom right now. I'm sure he's thinking about how he can preserve that so he can look ahead to his next few pairs. Here we go. He's solved number 4 from Alfonsus. Doesn't look like he was able to do that preservation. And yeah, the pausing is not going to help him any. Here's OLL and PLL now. Looks like he's going to be just behind the pace. 965, really consistent, but a +2. So that's not going to quite do it. And like I said, Jonathan is now up 3-1. It is set point for Vandy. And yeah, you're right, Martin. Being up 1-0 is going to be huge. Although I think Penn State has a lot left in the tank. We had some 2 top solvers coming up next.
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking ahead, Penn State might have a slight edge. I mean, we're talking real small, not a whole lot moving forward. But definitely Vandy going in with that momentum. I mean, that's going to mean everything with something as close
Ooh,
as
this is
this.
a good looking scramble. A bunch of pieces are already oriented. Alfonsus picked a really interesting angle to do his cross from. I wonder if he was able to get. I wonder if he saw something particular that he was able to preserve in F2L. This is going to be a high 8, I believe. Oh no, 926. So another pretty consistent solve coming out from Alfonsus. If this were an average of 5, I think he would have been pretty close to his PR average of 5 as is. So that goes to show how consistent he's being. Unfortunately, looks like Jonathan has been able to kind of capitalize a little bit on lucky cases and such. Getting that 6 and getting that 7. So even though he did have the disastrous 12 to start off, he's kind of cleaned things up here. Going into solve number 5 for him. And this is it. This is set point.
Yeah. Jonathan wins this solve. He takes this set for Vanderbilt.
Interesting. He doesn't even
Like
have white
he's
on
looking at
bottom
white.
here. He's got something entirely different. He might be going for red. Yeah, red cross.
Red cross. Wow.
Another clean
Looks
solve.
like it's paying off for him.
759. That'll do it.
759 from Jonathan.
4-1.
Jonathan taking that fourth solve, putting Vanderbilt up on the board early. Alfonsus only able to take that one solve from Jonathan early on. But yeah, Vanderbilt up on the board early. I think that's going to be huge moving forward. Let's take a quick look at those times.
Yeah, I mean the big things
with
to
that
notice
871
here,
average.
I think the last 3 times from Jonathan, 645, 774, 759, excuse me. Of those, 2 of those were not white yellow. So it seems like it was not even possible for Alfonsus to even find the solution. That is what color neutral solving can do for you. If you only look at white yellow, then you're just throwing away 4 other cross colors that could have really, really good solutions. And Jonathan, in those cases, was able to take advantage of lucky cases. And, while not being confused by the extra colors that you're trying to look at, because that's the disadvantage, is sometimes you can't look as far ahead into F2L, but not a problem for him. Getting some of the faster solves we've seen in the tournament to clean it up, as Martin said, with an 871 mean to Alfonso's 1047 mean.
Yeah, and Jonathan being able to shake off that 1221 early on, big deal. Not every competitor has been able to do that this competition, but it's going to pay off for him. Putting Vanderbilt up on the board early. Let's move into the second set. At this one, much, much closer.
Oh, wow.
1/10 of a second of a difference. Both are incredible cubers. Both 4-0 in the competition overall. Super close matchup. This may be our closest set so far. I don't want to delay us any further. I'm stoked for this matchup. It's going to be close. Big, big set for Penn State as well. They got to win this set to stay in this matchup.
Yeah, and that's Graham has got to go into it, and he's like knowing that, right? He's like, man, if he's not able to take this set, it's just all over. Their incredible run is just gonna fizzle out here, unfortunately. Now, one thing, Martin, tell me, is the order set, or were they able to kind of like switch up the order like on the fly?
Yeah, so we order the competitors like fastest to slowest based off of the averages that we have for them. So we actually recalculated the averages in our off time based off of the time that everybody had in round 1. So these are a little bit newer, a little bit fresher, as they just compete like slowest to fastest, just straight across, or it's like slowest to slowest, fastest to fastest, and so on. But yeah, Thomas going in with white cross to get things started off.
And I mean, that looked like a really fluid solve from start to finish. What I really like is that he didn't really turn that fast, but he didn't have a lot of pausing in his solves either. And that's what allowed him to get this 741. It was just smooth all the way through, even all the way down to the final turns of the A perm at the very end. Obviously a good PLL overall. So yeah, I mean, starting off from solve 1, Graham already has his back against the wall, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's going to be big for Graham to take this first solve early on. Thomas riding that momentum from that first set one, but Graham getting things started off with white cross as well.
Yeah, it looks like just a
Like he
little bit of
fumbled
a
the cube
cube
a little
fumble.
bit. But that cost him.
Yeah,
938
938.
from Graham. Thomas able to keep up that momentum Vanderbilt had early on. And like you said earlier, Manu, these little mistakes cost these cubers up at this level. Graham just slipped a little bit, and I think that cost him this solve. That looked to be a pretty good solve as well. Both started on the white cross as well, I think. And Vanderbilt and Thomas coming in with a lot of momentum. I think that's going to be a big deal moving forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it must be huge just knowing that you got this one solve and you're able to capitalize. The other thing is, like a 741 is a good solve at the end of the day. Like I'm sure like to these guys, like they get these times all the time, like just during practice, but this is a competition, right? So in a competition setting, to be able to put up one of your better times is definitely a huge plus, right? And if Graham had managed to beat that, who knows the kind of mental gymnastics that Thomas Maida had to go through.
Exactly, yeah. And some of these second sets have been big for some other teams, like we saw with Auburn and NYU. Graham finishing up that second solve with a 961. Looked like he may have had some lockups in PLL. I'm not quite sure.
Nope, you're exactly right
But
there, Martin.
probably not.
He was looking really good up until the PLL. Looks like he had a really long one. Honestly, the match is going so quickly, I can't even remember. But that's a good thing. It's just more action.
Exactly. But I'm not sure if that's what we expected to see from Graham there, and I'm not sure if that's what he expected to see from himself either. Thomas had a pretty good opportunity going in with white cross now. Looks like he had some issues in F2L maybe. Oh, it's going to be close.
Ooh, really, really close.
952.
Wow, so he's just gonna
Graham with the
edge him out.
961. 1/10 of a second. I think Graham had those lockups in PLL. It looked like Thomas had some issues in F2L maybe.
Yep. You're absolutely right. It was a good looking scramble too. Looks like a lot of cross pieces were already oriented correctly. And both competitors, of course, tried to take advantage of that. But yeah, Thomas had some like a little bit strange execution errors is what it looked like from this side of the commentating booth at least. But he was able to get it done in the end. Looks like he has white on the bottom once again. Probably going to be eyeing that, kind of shaking his head a little bit, not sure. Although his orientation, he's kept that pretty static the whole time, so he probably has an idea of what to do. Here's F2L now. Yeah, just really, really fluid. A bunch of good cases there. Oh my goodness, the cube flew out of his hand. If he had stopped the timer there, it would have been a DNF on the middle slice. I think he ended up getting away with a high 8 or maybe a low 9. 9-2-6. So he kind of got a little bit lucky there, but able to save it, still get a sub 10 solve.
Wow, we'll have to go back and check that one in the replay booth at some point. I wonder how fast that would have been if he was able to finish that solve cleanly. But this is a good thing for Graham. Thomas with a lot of momentum, 2 solves up. Graham still looking for that first solve. I don't think he's quite been solving how we expected him to. But Graham going in with white cross, it looks like big pause in F2L right at the start. Graham has to capitalize on this. Lockups in PLL. And that costs him 10.7.
Yeah, that's going to be
I don't know,
3-0 for
Manu.
Thomas.
Things are not looking too good for Penn State.
Oh no. I mean, this is it. This is the match point right here. Thomas can just seal it, put it away. Unfortunately, it looks like Graham it looked like his cross was pretty fluid, but unfortunately, it seems like he may have made a bit of a mistake needing to do M2 U2 M2. That's what when you have two of your cross edges oppositely swapped. Never an ideal case to get unless you very specifically planned for that. And that may have cost him there. So Thomas's mistake looks like did not end up biting him here. Graham really needs to get something good here in order to keep Penn State in this collegiate cubing championship. Ooh, good looking scramble too.
Yeah.
What I could tell. Okay, decent looking serval, a little bit worse than I initially thought. But he's looking pretty fluid. No major pauses here. A little chunky on the OLL, but
Oh,
that's a
wow.
6.93. That is the fastest solve I think he's gotten in this competition so far. Yes, that is. And he's got to be feeling good. Maybe he can get one back
Yep.
and start his momentum to win this set and keep Penn State in it.
Yeah, exactly what we needed to see from Graham was a really fantastic solve to put a ton of pressure on Thomas. Thomas just one solve away from sealing this whole match for Vanderbilt. Looks like he's looking at white cross as well. So let's see what he's able to do with that. A little bit lockier F2L, it looks like.
Yeah, and just not as
Some
lucky.
fumbles in PLL.
952.
952 from Thomas.
So there we go. Congrats, Graham, on getting one, and now 3 more. And this match is tied up at 1-1. One thing I'll point out for all the viewers at home, the difference between those two solves there, I think, was all in the fluidity. And fluidity, what I mean there is pausing. When you watch Graham do his solve, go back. In YouTube, you can literally hit the back arrow and go back and watch the solves all over again. It's amazing. It's the 21st century you live in. But the key difference you'll see there is that he was not pausing at all. He was able to smoothly go from F201 to F202 to F203, and that allowed him to really, really look ahead. And he got a couple good cases as well on last layer. So that's exactly what Thomas is going to want to do here, is just make sure that everything looks relatively fluid, avoid major lockups, and he should have this in the bag. Another A perm for him. That's a great PLL. 864 is the time that we see on his timer. That's certainly a very competitive time. Graham has got one to chase now.
Yeah, I think Graham taking that one solve there is a big deal. Finally slowing that momentum down for Vanderbilt. This 864 from Thomas is probably, well, it's not great news for Graham, but definitely gives him an opportunity to take another solve, which he has to do if he wants to keep Penn State in this competition. But massive fumble on F2L there.
Oh, no.
4 fumbles in PLL. 1047 from Graham.
That'll do it.
Wow. Manu, I'm in shock a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Wow. Yeah, dude. I mean, it looked like Graham really had a chance to chase that mid 8 solve that Thomas put up, and he was looking really good until that crucial fumble in F2L, and then just unable to get it done on the PLL to boot. He's going to take away at least one solve here. That's 693. Definitely going to be one to remember. One of Penn State's best solves in this entire competition. But Thomas here with an 8.87 mean has wrapped this one up. Vandy is going to the Elite 8. They will be facing off against, let me take a quick look here, the winner of UW-Madison and the University of Houston. That's going to be a big one. Congrats, Thomas, for winning this one. Now, we have one more set to show the folks at home. Is that right?
Yeah, but one last set. We'll play this one out, even though Vanderbilt has upset Penn State already. As you can see in this third set, Penn State with a pretty clear advantage, but don't sleep on Marcus. I think we might have in our competition. Definitely did not work out for us. But Penn State coming in with a pretty clear advantage into this third set. But it's still going to be close. Still going to be close for sure.
Yeah, I mean, these are two top-tier competitors. Like I mentioned in the Vandy-Bama match, Marcus came in one of the most decorated cubers in this competition, top 50 WR in Pyraminx. He got 3rd place at the North American Championship in Pyraminx, and he was 2nd place on the U.S. podium, 4th place at Worlds 2023. So there's a reason why the Vandy logo is a Pyraminx V first, if you will. But that's not to say that Toby is going to be a pushover. Toby recently, folks, broke their PR with a 6.99 in Spain and won that entire competition. So we got some across the pond action here. Let's see what Toby and Marcus can bring to the table on this set number 3. Vandy has already won it 2-0 so far, but Toby's going to try and get one back for the boys, the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, Penn State just looking not to get swept right now. And things are looking bright for them. Toby starting off with that 755.
Yeah,
We'll
good
see
start from
how
Toby.
Marcus responds to that 755.
Yeah, let's see what Marcus can put up. He got 680 and 650 and 754 in the round 1 match, so definitely not foreign to these types of situations. He's looking around quite a bit. Looks like he isn't fully set up on what cross color he's going to do. Ended up deciding to go for red, made one rotation in F2L and otherwise did not need to rotate at all. Had all edges oriented on that last layer. Ended up with OLL PLL. 8:57 is his time. That means Toby is going to take one here to start off this third set. We're going on to solve number 2 now. Marcus is going to be solving first here, getting his cube checked. Looks like everything looks all good. From the 2 faces that I could see, didn't see anything in particular there, but maybe once we rotate around, there'll be something good here. Marcus warming his hands up, warming his brain up. Inspection has started. Let's see what he's going to pick. Doesn't look like there's a lot, but yeah, I think green would be my color neutral choice. I'm not even a color neutral solver. But yeah, green definitely looked like the best possible cross solution. Looking pretty fast and fluid through F2L. Ended up getting all corners permuted. That's going to be a 697. And that's going to be a competitive time versus Toby. So good solve from Marcus here on number 2. See if he can steal a point back.
Yeah, and I think like I said earlier, don't sleep on Marcus. He can whip out some quick solving here, and it looks like he might even have an opportunity to take a solve on Toby. But we'll see how Toby is able to respond to that 697 from Marcus. Toby starting off with that 755. So we're going to have to be a little bit faster in that first solve. Looks like he's choosing yellow cross here. A little tough to see what's going on. But Toby got the 705.
Ooh, wow,
so
extremely
Marcus
close.
coming back.
Yeah, he was able to bring that back. Looks like Marcus was actually kind of surprised too. He's got a big smile on his face. And that's not to say it was a bad solve from Toby. Toby actually got like some pretty good cases there. I want to say he had the wide soon OLL into what looked like a J perm from here, which is a pretty good last layer, all things considered. Those are some of the faster algorithms. But one big thing to notice here is Marcus was able to find his solution on blue cross, but Toby was not even able to consider that. So there you go. That's another color neutral versus white yellow only difference there. The white cross looking kind of good here. I see that there's that green edge. I can't see if the other edge was the blue edge or not. If it is, it's going to be really nice. Yeah, it looks like a pretty quick cross. It's getting a little slide showy, but can still figure out overall what's going on here. Looks like he had a G perm for his PLL. 794 is going to be his solve. So Toby has come out with 777 to start. That's going to be a little bit tough for Marcus. He did get a 6 in the last solve. He got a 6 in round 1 also. So definitely possible, but he's going to need to work for it a little bit, find a good solution.
Yeah, 794 not quite as dialed in as some of Toby's other solves. Leaves the door a little open for Marcus to take another solve here. Looks like he's looking at white cross as well. We'll see what he's able to pull out on white cross. Be a little bit of a rougher start on the cross there. A little bit of a hesitation in F2L as well. Yeah, it's going to be an 874. That looked to me just not quite as dialed in, just not quite as clean as Toby. And it cost him, Toby taking that solve by about a second.
Yeah, unfortunately a little locky. Not as good cases as he got in that 6-second solve from earlier. And yeah, unfortunately that's the stuff that makes the difference. It's pretty small. Those of you who may not be as familiar with cubing might be like, man, I can't even tell what's going on. It's very, very small differences, and part of it is coming down to just a touch, just a hint of luck, especially when it comes to what kind of last layer these guys get. If you get an A perm, that's only 9 moves, but if you get like a G perm, then we're talking like, 16 plus moves. So it's a pretty big difference.
Marcus looking at yellow cross here. Seems to be a little bit better, but some hesitations in F2L. I think he finished off with a T perm there, so not too bad. But it's going to be a 931. Not quite as clean as that 697 we saw from earlier. Leaves the door wide open for Toby.
Yeah, Toby's going to look to capitalize on that. Unfortunately, Marcus was not able to get a good solution there. That F12-4 looked like may have been a little bit different than what he was predicting. It was a simple 3-mover, but looks like he needed to rotate or something. I don't know, a little bit hard to tell. Always a lot easier to yap from over here than it is to solve like the competitors are doing right now. Looks like Toby found a good solution on yellow, and it's going to be... Yeah, it was a little hard to tell. It was that TOLL, the T all edges oriented case. But it looks like he's going to end up getting an 813. He's going to go up 3-1 on Marcus Kamen. And Penn State is looking like they are going to take this third set here. Even though Vandy has already won the match, it'll be a good consolation prize for them at least. Shows them that they're definitely still in it. They definitely had a fighting chance. All three members put up a good fight against this Vandy team, but looks like number 9 is going to take it here.
Yeah, absolutely. Things starting to look bright for Penn State. Finally, too bad it came in the final set when Vanderbilt has already secured that victory. But we'll see what Toby can pull off in this 5th solve. Looking to end this set here with this. Looks like he might be looking at yellow cross. We'll see. Excuse me, I think that's going to be white. Super
Nice.
quick solve from Toby again. 707.
Oh, it looks like they're actually going to re-scramble, which is crazy because that 707, that scramble looked particularly good. It was actually always going to be white cross, I think, because there was actually a really interesting move where you could make a 2x2x1, which is basically what you need to do in order to build an X cross. And Toby looks like he had done that, but that's scrapped off the board now. We got a completely new scramble that we're going to have here for solve number 5. Set point for Penn State. Yeah, this one doesn't look quite as good. It looks like he's considering doing yellow. Yeah. Saw a couple of free pairs in the little slideshow that I can see on my end. And it looks like I want to say he ended up with an N perm, unfortunately, RUL, which is definitely not a good case. Out of all 21 PLLs, that has to be one of the worst possible ones you can get. 727, I think, is going to be the time. Those of you who are familiar with inside jokes and memes are probably laughing it up in the chat right now.
We'll see how Marcus responds to that 727. Definitely a very good solve for Toby. Like I've been saying, don't sleep on Marcus. He could definitely take this solve, but going to be tough. Marcus looking at red cross. This could be a win for color neutral solvers. We'll see, but looks like some hesitations in F2L maybe going to cost them. 949 from Marcus. Not quite enough to beat Toby there. Toby takes that 4th solve and that set for Penn State.
Yeah, there you go. In the end, it was a pretty close matchup between Penn State and Vanderbilt. Vandy ends up winning it 2-1. Great solving all around. I mean, this is the type of solving that we expect to see in the round of 16, the Sweet 16 action. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Penn State. They're a great team, as we see the Vandy team all lining up. They're getting ready to go on to their next match against the winner of UW-Madison, the number 1 overall seed in this bracket versus the University of Houston. Let's take a look back at this one, Martin.
Yeah, Marcus coming in with that 862 mean. See some consistency popping off for that 697, but generally around that high 8 range. 759 mean from Toby. Not as much consistency. Well, maybe that's a bit of a lie. He got that 8 there, but all across the 7s. 759 mean from Toby. Excellent solving from both competitors. Toby maybe a little more dialed in, able to take that final set. And as you were saying, Manu, that winner of this matchup, which is Vanderbilt, going on to face the winner of UW-Madison Houston, which no matter how that turns out, that'll be an exciting matchup as well. But yeah.
Yeah, indeed. It's shaping up to be a really, really
So-
exciting collegiate cubing championship. I'm so excited that we're here into the round of 16. The matches are going to get more and more exciting. So if you haven't followed the channel, this is your call to action. Do it now. It's literally right there. It takes one click. Just hit subscribe. Just do it.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to mention one more thing. I don't know about you, Manu. I thought that matchup was going to be awfully close, like 3-3 in each set, coming down to the last solve. I don't think we saw that at all. Just 4-1, 4-2 maybe each set. It seemed a little bit one-sided for each solve. I don't know if you had any thoughts, final thoughts on this matchup between Penn State and Vanderbilt.
You know, sometimes it ends up like that. It's just like the luck of the draw, if you will, or you know, it's just the day. Sometimes you get like runs where like you are just like on fire. You can see everything, like you can see your entire F2L from inspection. And there's other days where it's just like you build the cross wrong, and you know what? It's what happens. But I mean, look, I think that's just what happens in cubing. And like we mentioned in the broadcast also, it comes down to really, really small differences, you know? It comes down to like whether or not you lock up a little bit in F2L, whether or not that edge that you thought was going to be oriented was actually unoriented because you just weren't able to trace it fully. So it's a game of inches, definitely in cubing, a lot less than inches at times.
Yeah, still, either way, super close matchup. Thank you so much for coming on, Manu. Super glad to have you on. Loved having you on as well. Hopefully we can have you on sometime again in the future as well.
It would be an honor. Thanks, Martin. Thanks to the rest of the crew. What is your guys' name again? The Crimson Cubers. Yes. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Yes, sir, the Crimson Cubers. Yeah, and just before we go, thank you everybody for watching. We'll plug our next matchup really quick as well, which is going to be this Saturday at 12 p.m. The Ohio State versus NYU. Guys, you won't want to miss that one. We also have another very, very special guest coming on to commentate as well. Don't want to spoil too much, but going to be a super exciting matchup as well. Thank you again to everybody for watching. Thank you for joining me, Manu. This is Martin signing off.